I advocate for political activism, but I also say that it should come from a place of calm and wisdom within. What I call is calm political activism is needed. Well, you may be thinking, all that sounds good, but how do you solve racism? So here is my answer. For that, we need to get to the root cause of the problem, which is ego. So all sorts of divisiveness, whether it is racial discrimination, economic discrimination, social discrimination, ethnicity-related problems, it doesn't matter. All kinds of divisiveness is rooted in our human ego. As long as ego prevails in human consciousness, it is going to rile up against each other, cause problems, and make you feel like I am superior, you are inferior. All that divisiveness, right? That is what ego does. It loves to divide and rule. We need to remember that all the political activisms and having the rules needed to keep racism in check are important, but that alone is not going to solve the problem, even if you have 1,000 rules. Because look at it right now. There are obvious rules against racism and discrimination, and yet that happens every day in our society, isn't it? Because we can write all the rules, but it is not easy to make them be followed by the people. So we need to get into the hearts of the people and change them so that they will follow those rules. Rules will help to some extent, but the real issue cannot be solved until we address the egoism. And the only thing that is going to solve egoism is calmism. What I mean to say is, when people are calm, it dissolves the ego. Let me demonstrate that to you with a couple of examples. As long as human beings are restless and stressed, the ego prevails. It assails them to create divisiveness, to create problems, to create differences, to magnify the differences that we have. Ego does all that. All barriers to human interactions are caused by ego, whether it is rich or poor, black or white. No matter what the difference that we are looking at, it is a construct of our ego. Imagine that you are seeing the reflection of the moon in a mirror. It's beautiful, it looks great, and now the mirror is broken because someone threw a stone at it, and the mirror is broken into 100 pieces. Now you're going to see how many moons? 100 moons, isn't it? But are there 100 moons? No, right? There is only just one moon. Then why are you seeing 100 moons in there? Because the mirror through which you are seeing the moon is broken, right? Now, that stone that breaks that mirror can be compared to our ego. Ego breaks our human mind, human consciousness into multiple pieces. It creates separate realities, and because of that, we see all these differences. Oh, black, white, this race, that race, poor man, whatever it is. It creates all those differences. It breaks our mind to perceive things differently than what they are. But the truth is, like, there is only one moon. The same way, we all human beings, we are of one nature. The essence of human beings, it's the same. It doesn't matter if I am brown, white, black. If you cut my flesh, it is going to be the same blood. It is going to be the same bones that make us, right? The essence of human nature, it's same in all people. Yes, we all have our differences, and that is totally okay. That is what creates variety. And without that variety, it will be very boring, this world, right? If every single person looks exactly the same, talks exactly the same, oh my God, you will be bored to death. So it is okay to have variety. Variety is what makes us unique. That doesn't mean that one person is superior and the other person is inferior. No. For example, let me give you something. There is a guy who is right now working at my home with our flooring. There are some issues with the flooring, and he's working on it. He's a Mexican man, and I can barely understand what he says. And I have used a translator to help me understand what he has to say. And he explained it so well, whatever work that he was doing and some decisions that I had to make. He explained it so well. It's like, oh wow, this is so amazing. He's different than me. He speaks a different language. He belongs to a different culture. But in no way he is inferior. He is superior in his knowledge when it comes to flooring, right? When it comes to being a doctor, I have knowledge that is superior to him, but that doesn't make me in any way better than him, right? We need to all think like that. We all have different skills. We all have different ways to do things in life, and that is totally okay, totally okay. Remember that. So we all need to realize this truth, that ego is what causes this feeling of superiority. Ego is what causes this divisiveness that, this is better, that is not better, white, black, rich, poor, and all the discrimination. We need to realize that is what causes this. And when you realize that truth, and we all understand that collectively as humanity, that ego is the one that causes this divisiveness. Ego is the one that causes these separate realities. Ego is the one that makes you feel like I am superior, you are inferior. Until then, we won't be able to solve the injustice, the discrimination, whether it is racial, whether it is economic, whether it is something else. So, let us all try to work on our egos. So you may be asking, how do we do that? There are 3 ways to do it. Number 1, gain the right knowledge about your true self, who you are really. Understand that. Number 2, practice relaxation exercises that are going to totally de-stress you and takes your restlessness away. Number 3, use some form of a calming technique that would instill a state of deep calmness within. When your mind is still, like a tranquil lake, you will see the image of moon clear. But when your mind is restless, the image of the moon that you see is going to be distorted. The same way, when your mind is calm, everything that you see will be clear, good. And when your mind is stressed and restless, that is when ego assails us and causes all these problems. So the solution to racism is calmism. And I'm going to share with you about these 3 aspects that I just said, how to dissolve ego. I'm going to share that with you in my future segments in this program, Voice of Calm. Let's practice calmism. Thanks for watching.